Y'all gotta forgive me for being in the dark. I'm up here in my gym, just got out the sauna, and I seen this video, and this lady was talking to another lady. She was like, you've been married for how long? The lady said 26 years and 4 children. And she was like, how? How did it work? And she said, well, you gotta go through hard together. And she was saying it changes after you go through hard. You no longer expect him to be who you thought he was gonna be or to meet your needs. And you not who you thought you were gonna be, and then you go through survival. And although that can work, oftentimes when you take those methods and you go that route and you call your marriage survival, and you no longer expect someone to meet your needs that you married to, if you think about it, we remember that being the same thing that Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith were saying, and look at their marriage. And now whoever this lady is, she's on a podcast talking, so she's building a brand about a marriage of survival. And maybe she went on to say, they thriving now and they came through that and they got through it. And that's what I would, hope and expect she said. But I know just hearing the sound bite, and I know other people hear that sound bite and say, oh, if I'm surviving, if I'm breathing, I don't have to get any needs met and I could keep going. But for me personally, I want more. I want more out of marriage. I've been married 17 years, and one thing I could say is that if you cross 10 years and you're doing good and you plan on continuing to do good and do what you're doing, and you know who you married, then you kind of have a blueprint. You can have like a recipe for what you're doing. And it makes the marriage easier when you learn your person, what makes them tick, and what makes them go, not what ticks them off and what makes them go off, but what makes them tick and what makes them go, what makes them smile, what makes them happy, what makes them laugh, what do they love. And you do those things and you speak that language, and every single day you wake up with a commitment and you say, today I'm going to make my spouse's life better, and I'm gonna try to find a way to make my spouse's life better. What can I do to ease some of his or her pain or worries or anxiety? And you think outside of the box, and you do what you can do inside of your capabilities. And random example, my mother-in-law is an extension of my wife. That's her family. And yesterday my mother-in-law cooked as a surprise one of me and my son's favorite meals. And it was oxtail and dumpling, boiled dumpling. And oxtail got, I don't know if it's kidney beans or some kind of beans in there, and it got spinners in there, which is like a different type of dumpling than her regular boiled dumpling. And we ate that, and it's just so good, so good. Fell in love. I text my mother-in-law, thank you, I love you, appreciate you, blessed me. And then today on Monday, my wife will wake up and take our youngest son to school, and I have her a hydrofacial at 9:45 a.m. I go to the gym at 8 a.m., work out from 8 to about 8:45, and my wife has that facial. And now if she's done after that facial, if I don't, I think I have a podcast interview that I'm doing for a friend, somebody from my hometown, which I don't really do interviews anymore. And I'm gonna shoot over there and do that. But tomorrow or the next day, I'm gonna be looking, babe, can I take you to breakfast? And if I'm walking past the sink and I see dishes, I want to wash the dishes. If I see stuff left out on the island, I want to pick it up, put it in the trash, put stuff where it goes. If my wife is complaining about her back or squirming, I want to massage her back. I'll give her a hug and love on her and do my best to help her just bring more ease and peace to her day. And I think what happens, what we do in a marriage is we get selfish and we start worrying about us. And my wife and I, we've gone through hard. But what I realized about when we went through hard and it was in that state where the lady was talking about, what I realized is it was my fault. It was my fault because I wasn't being mindful and I wasn't being intentional and I wasn't being considerate and I wasn't being kind. And in those times, things shift. So just like that lady said, she said, you know, you change and you stop expecting him to be who you thought he would be. And you stop expecting him to meet your needs. But right there, that speaks to the husband's ability to meet his woman's needs. Because when you marry the right woman, you really know her needs. And no woman really needs a whole lot. We can make it a lot. We can, yes, every human could want a lot and could accept a lot. But those core needs that makes someone come to life, it may be one or two things. It may be undivided attention. It may be quality time, which is also undivided attention. So right there you have two in one, like two of the same. It may be physical touch and intimacy. It may be acts of service or words of affirmation. Like, these things have been spelled out for us by Dr. Gary Chapman in the 5 love languages, but you could put whatever word to it that you want to put to it. But the fact that God can speak through one individual and pretty much sum up the love languages into 5 different things, not 10, not 15, not 20. Because what is cooking a meal? That's an act of service. What is rubbing feet, massaging back? That's an act of service, and it's physical touch. What is going on a date? That's quality time. So anything, what is having sex? That's quality time. That's physical touch. Anything you can think of, God has already had one mind sum it up into 5 different acts. And so that lets you know that it's not as complicated as we make it. But the reason why it seems so complicated is because we're selfish. We're selfish, self-centered, lazy, and complacent. And we don't do what we need to do to remain metabolically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically healthy. And when we go into a state of complacency, we don't have the energy to love and to give and to serve. But if we will prioritize our health in every aspect of the word, mind, body, and spirit, we will then be in a place where we have the energy to love, to give, and to serve. And then we can ask ourselves, okay, I've given myself the time, discipline, dedication, and love that I need to function at my highest. Now, what does my spouse need from my highest level of functioning? And if we can do that and just simplify that process of loving your spouse as you love yourself. So often people put other people before themselves, not realizing that you can't give what you don't have. So your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health is of paramount importance. So, I'll give you an example. My body woke me up at like 2:30 a.m. We went to bed, just kind of fell asleep a little earlier than we would have, a little more informal sleep. My wife, she wasn't feeling good. Time of the month, we laid down and she asked me to rub her stomach. I had hugged her and rubbed on her stomach a little bit, but I didn't want to, I don't know if that's science, I didn't want to make it worse. And so let her relax, try not to talk too much or anything. And she fell asleep. Then I decided to go ahead and go to sleep. My body woke up and my body was thrown off because my wife had made me a drink and I don't really drink, and that messed up my sleep. So what did I do? When I woke up, I started to think and pray and meditate. And so right now I'm in my gym. I came and got a massage in the massage chair, and then I got in the sauna to just cleanse, and was in the sauna for 40 minutes and just sweated to no end. And now I'm gonna go shower, brush up, get ready to go to the gym in a couple hours. When the sun comes up, I'm gonna go outside and walk. But guess what that's gonna do? I'm gonna turn a bad night of sleep into a good day, because I'm prioritizing my mental, spiritual, and physical health. And so you have to make time for you and to love you and to do what you need to do. And I preach this to my wife all the time, and a lot of times because she's just ripping and running for the kids, and I have to remind her, like, baby. And so I'll just take and book her a massage. I'll book her a facial. I'll tell her, hey, go do this treatment, that, and just put it on her schedule for her, because as a mom, moms are so quick to neglect themselves and put everybody else first. But then if she's neglecting her, then it also will turn into neglecting me, because she won't have the energy to meet me at my needs, nor will I have the energy to meet her at her needs if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. So that is where you have a unified effort of making sure that both of you are taking care of yourselves and then taking care of each other consistently. And you can't get away from it. And when it's about being selfless and loving, selfless doesn't mean that you don't take care of you. It means you take care of you and then you give without keeping score. That's what selflessness is. Self-love is the ability to love someone else because you've loved yourself. And a lot of people get that confused. And that's why so many marriages are failing, because of a lack of self-love, overly selfishness, and not being intentional. Hey, this Tony Gaskin. Sorry for being in the dark. I didn't want the lights on in here. My AC went out in the gym, which is also a good thing. A little more heat in here. But God bless you. Thank you for tuning in. We'll talk soon.